MyMMAnews.com, being joined by the Nappy Ninja once again, my man Piankhi Zimmerman. He'll be taking on Elijah, the Buffalo Soldier Harris. It's going down at Fight World 18 on July 17th. We're just a little bit under a week away, and he will be in the main event against Elijah Harris. First and foremost, Piankhi, we've spent years together. We've known each other for some time, man. Here we are again. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, man. It's always good to catch up with you. It's always good to see that you're doing your thing. I love seeing you compete. And how you feeling on fight week, brother?
Feeling good. I've been, just training, improving, making everything better. As we get older, we have to, realize that becomes a factor. But, you just increase your intelligence on your work, and it should be easy work.
Now, we were talking a little bit before the interview and discussing, before we get into this bout, I was going to talk a little bit about your last outing. Bellator 251, a big stage. Obviously, it didn't go your way, but as I've told you before, and I'm going to say it again, as I've gotten to know you throughout the years, you're a student of the game. You're always evolving. You take a lot of things and then you grasp them, you learn from them. So my question is not like a dwelling question on Bellator, but what was your takeaways that you can adapt and learn in the future?
My takeaway was that I had a glaring a weakness that I didn't. I guess I feel like I took too long to really address it, and like I had to address it from time to time in the past, and made up for it with other things. But my biggest weakness was my takedown defense. I'm not gonna lie, and that's pretty much the only thing that my opponent could get on me. And then once he realized that, he did what he needed to do to secure the win. He was like, look, I'm getting beat up. I'm bloody. His head's hurt, but I can shoot him for a takedown and hold him there. And then I can maybe score some points. And it's not the kind of fight that I would ever want to win, but that has nothing to do with getting the W. You know what I mean? So, if what I did is I took that, I watched the fight, ran over it, and I saw, okay, my biggest issue, I can strike really well. I can hit hard. I got knockout power. I can make people bleed. I hit people in the legs. They don't want to get kicked anymore. I hit them in the ribs. They don't want to get hit there anymore. I elbow somebody. They don't want to get that anymore. Like, I punch them in the face with a jab. They don't want to get hit with that anymore. So it's like, I can definitely hit. I definitely have knocked people out before. And the biggest issue that I've had, and on the ground, I'm good on the ground. My jiu-jitsu is pretty solid. But my biggest issue was working under certain types of pressure, specifically wrestling pressure. It's like I've faced that before, but it was against people who were like the top of the game at that position. So I kind of was like, all right, cool. I got wrestled down by like a world-class black belt, who does that to people who are my instructors. And so I'm like, whatever, if that happens, we keep moving on. I'll learn, I'll adjust. And I did, but I didn't adjust enough. And in that last fight, that weakness became glaring obvious. Like, dude, you got to have some takedown defense. So what I took from that, I hit up every wrestling coach that I had, hit up every wrestling situation, and I started drilling. I started practicing. I started learning more. I didn't have to necessarily like be the best wrestler, obviously, because that's not going to happen. But like, just coming right after a fight, it's been like, all right, let me just like, now I'm going to wrestle like John Jones. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen like that. But I had to find what Piankhi the wrestler looked like. You know what I mean? And so once I started finding things that worked for me more and getting a lot of drilling in and incorporating, my own skills into that wrestling, then it became much more part of me. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Now it's going to be different. If somebody takes me down, there's going to be a lot harder, one, to get me down, even if that does happen. And even on the way down, I'm not staying. So I worked on a lot of things to adjust my game. So I had drilling and going over your weaknesses. If you fight one way and then you fight the same way the next fight, something didn't happen well in your training camp. And for me personally, that's not the way to do it. You got to be better. So I was better in the Bellator 251 fight, I think, mentally, in terms of like being a little bit more aware of things, because I got caught in the fight before that, and that really sucked. There's a couple of things that happened in that fight, but yeah, so I realized, like, you know what, like, you you got to be aware. It can't slip up and underestimate anybody. Can't underestimate the power. I think with the last one, I think I overestimated his power a little bit too much and underestimated his takedown of it. So, like I said, I was able to make him bleed. I made him hurt, and in between rounds, you could see he didn't really want to be there. And I was fine. All right, cool, it's whatever. I'm still working. I'm still doing my thing. I'll get the knockout or whatever. But then once we got in there, especially for that last round, he came at me like a bat out of hell. Like he needed me on the ground. He did not want to get me. And so take it from that. It's like, look, I have to not only be able to defend against that, but I have to go back to that old Nappy Ninja mentality of like, I will knock you out. I will finish this fight. You know what I mean? And yeah, so like you said, I'm still at the game, man. I'm not here to just like have a little fun. I'm here to improve myself every single fight. And I'm here to take it as far as I can get. And hopefully I can get into another, UFC Fight Pass, a Bellator fight soon, because I didn't fight bad. Like I said, I beat my guy up. He was hurt. I was not. I literally was just like, I think the only thing I hurt was maybe my leg a little bit next day from like one of the leg kicks, which wasn't that good. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I was fine. And the fight before that, I wasn't fine. So I combine the issues that I had from those fights, and like I know I'm a much better fighter than that. You know what I mean? So like when I fought in Brazil, I made some mistakes, fixed them on the spot, and got to whoop ass. You know what I mean? So that was like one of my highlights, of my career, and that was right after coming off of winning the title in Delaware. So for Stellar Fights, and that was another like beast of a fight there too. So like I know I had the ability to adjust on the fly, and fix things, work things out. So I think it's just like I said, the last couple fights was coming off of some other bad energy, and I need to just learn from that and not let that happen again.
Now, I was curious with you saying that you noticed this glaring weakness and you kind of avoided fixing it. Now, I know some of the grapplers, some of the ground people that you train with, Josh Peters, everything like that. I'm curious, is it you were more welcoming to the fact that, okay, you can take me down if you want, but I'm comfortable with my ground game? More so, was that what I'm getting out of this?
Yeah, because my jiu-jitsu, like, you get me on the ground, I'm on my back, so what? I'm hurting you. You get me on the ground, you're not passing me. Anyone who's got me on the ground, no one had me in side control for any significant amount of time. If it was side control, it was for like a half a second, maybe, and then I was out of there, got into half guard, back to hitting you, back to trying to get my position or shrimp out. I was very, very comfortable being on my back because my jiu-jitsu is not bad, like I go and I compete regularly. So, I medaled the last time I went, and I guess I'm always evolving, always growing. Actually, the last event I went to, I had just learned this particular technique. And then the last event that I went, that they called me for right before I was about to leave, actually, I thought I was going to leave with just one gold and one silver. And then as I'm about to walk out, they call my name again for another match. I was like, oh gosh, that was okay. So I went there, and then I ended up using the thing I learned the night before on this other person, got the position, bang, heel hook. And like, I knew what heel hooks were, but I tightened it up even better, and I was like, oh, this is what I was talking about. Bang, got it, another goal. So it's like, I'm always trying to get better, always trying to learn, improve my skills. Yeah, man. And yes, I don't want to be comfortable. When you're comfortable, and the older you get, the faster the younger people will adjust and learn, because information flies, and with the internet, and it makes me feel old saying that, but like I remember a time before the internet, what I mean, before Google, I remember when Alta Vista was a thing, what I mean, and dial-up. So like, there's just so much information that's easily accessible to literally every person with a smartphone in the world, what I mean? So smartphone, we don't even really have to use, computers and laptops anymore. People would rather get a smartphone. You can do everything with, and if I took this, piece of technology that I have in my hand right now and took it back, 10, 15 years, like, it'd be like, wow, what is this? And so like a lot of young people don't realize, like, they have opportunities to do this stuff that we didn't have. was just talking to a kid actually who came in today, and just found out we actually go to this. We used to go. He goes to the same kung fu school I used to go to, and
Okay.
he wants to be a fighter now. And I was like, yo, man, you're young. You're like 16. If I wanted to do this stuff when I was 16, there was no MMA gyms around that time.
Mhm.
Like I knew I wanted to be an MMA fighter, but I didn't have any way of getting there. You know what I mean? Now you skip a stone. Every time it hits the water, you're hitting 3 MMA gyms, like, a 3 mile radius. So um, yeah, so the youth are going to be moving fast. So like, I just got to make sure that I'm moving smarter, and staying up to date. Always learning new techniques, improving on my training, and I always keep my physical top shape. You know what I mean? So younger people, they have a lot. They learn faster too because they grew up in an era where information and learning just moves very quickly.
Yeah. Now, speaking of age, man, I'm not trying to throw any sticks or stones, but you will be
Mm,
36 towards the end of this year. I just
yeah.
turned 36 myself, similar age, so I'm throwing myself under the bus with you. But so Elijah Harris, 3-3, he's 25 years old, so about a 10-year difference in age. So on paper, you can probably say it's youth versus experience. You have more fights than him, obviously, with the kickboxing and MMA on top of so much else. You do have the experience. So again, like I said, the student of the game and the evolving. Do you see this bout as similar to, like I said, on paper, the experience versus youth?
I do. Elijah Harris is he's solid everywhere. I would say that. He seems to be a good guy. He's got respect for my coach, and any interview I've seen him in, seems to be a stand-up guy. Skill wise, he's solid everywhere. He has some holes like everybody does, but it's yeah, I don't think he'll have anything I haven't seen before or experienced before, especially after my last fight. With Bellator, it's like, all right, well, that guy pretty much had the playbook on like this is how you beat Piankhi at this point in time. You know what I mean? So after that, it's like, all right, I worked on that. I've summed that up, and even that person was only able to barely get that win,
Mm.
without being like beaten and bloody and like wanting to give up. You know what I mean? So now I'm working on like, okay, I'm gonna make sure you give up next time. Next time if somebody tries to put you in that position, like, you're either gonna give up or force you out of that space.
Mm.
Um, and a lot of that comes to just like mentality. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, I've gotten amateur championships, I've gotten a pro championship, I've fought internationally, I've fought on big stages. At this point in time, I'm just like, yo, I already know what to do, and he's gonna have to come up with a lot of energy, um, and a lot of maybe even something new in order to really kind of like uh, trip me up. You know what I mean? So like I said, I've pretty much at this point seen it all.
Mm.
You know, the only thing I really haven't, if to be honest, the only thing I haven't had happen to me really much is an MMA fight with like another diverse like striker like myself. Most of the times it's a brawler or a wrestler. They're like heavy bruisers. So and Elijah Harris is very much so a heavy bruiser type. Um, which like they're annoying to fight, but I fought him before, fought wrestlers, fought bruisers, fought all types of people, and all my wins are finishes. So it's I mean, I feel confident, and I feel like I'm going to finish him, and yeah, may the best man win. But experiences, is unless the body really like shuts down, experience is definitely going to be the one that takes the win.
And you guys, if I'm not mistaken, you were scheduled to fight before in 2019, correct? What happened with that
Yeah.
fight?
Apparently, and he was cool about it. He actually reached out to me. He was
Okay.
like, "Hey, I wanted you to come from me first because I don't want like somebody else to come tell you, but like I had just recently got a neck injury and I got to be deployed soon after that. I'm not going to be able to heal up and fight at the same time, so I'm going to have to pull out. I just wanted to tell you directly. So I thought that was cool because a lot of times when somebody pulls out, they just like wash their hands with it and leave, and then you got to find out like much later, and then I wasn't able to find a replacement in time, obviously, but it was just good that he actually came out there. So he's a class act. I like his character, so far from what I know. And yeah, but actually, Kenny Kenny Bambam was supposed to. Oh, he did fight that day actually. That was actually his last fight. It's one of my training partners, and we were supposed to do a fight on that same day, and he only got a fight there because I had to fight with Elijah. So once that one got canceled, then he was the only one fighting, and I was like, I was there, and I was mad because I was like, yeah, just I'm gonna fight too. You know, what I mean, being on the side is hard when you're a student of the game. You're just like, oh man, where's my opponent? You know, I want to get rough. So, but yeah, instead I just play as a coach, and that was still fun. But yeah, back then I think he's a military guy, and he had to pull out that fight. So I was like, all right, I'll see you later, or I won't. And I saw that he kept doing his thing, kept fighting a couple more times. Um, I kept fighting for the time, so it's just it's fitting, and I think it's going to be a fight that is going to be basically it's going to be a tiebreaker for the winner. So I plan on taking that. You know what I mean? Especially in this situation, like I'm the older fighter. Like you'll have your time. Like this is mine. So sit back and you ain't ready yet. At least from what I see. So but he's young and that's cool. I definitely wish him much success beyond fighting me.
Beyond fighting you. But speaking of your assessment of him, and like you were saying, some things that you think he might not be ready yet. What are some of the tools that you may not think he doesn't have that you possess because of the experience?
Um, from what I've seen, he's kind of meat and potatoes. You know what I mean? I don't see anything that's like extraordinary. I do see that he's got some long arms for his size. You know what I mean? So like, all right, cool. I might have to reach, but don't mean that he can't tap it back. You know what I mean? So, um, I would definitely be looking out for him trying to throw any kind of like heavy bombs and stuff like that. I know he's a tank type of fighter, um, so that's like he's tough. He's a tough son of a gun. I've seen him kind of weather through some storms. Um, but I don't really quit either. I don't really get tired, so I'm kind of like, all right, it's nice that you're tough, but I'm gonna ding you up along the way. Um, and if we go to the ground, I haven't seen him do too much jujitsu that's like really threatening, personally. And so the only thing I really would be worried about is him trying to like take me down or hit me with a power shot, from a brawling position. But let me say striking wise, like he's meat and potatoes, very he's strong, but like basic stuff, not the fastest. He's strong, but not the most like accurate either. He's very much a pressure fighter. So with that, I'm like, all right, I've dealt with pressure. I've dealt with a lot of pressure. I've dealt with strong guys. I've flipped people, I've knocked people out. Like I've seen it all. So basically, it's just going to be me just putting all my stuff together, getting a nice quick check, and taking that to move on to the next thing.
I was gonna say you saying you've seen it all. I've seen you see it all firsthand. But so the age old question, man. You know it's coming. How do you take Elijah Harris out? What's your prediction?
Dang, he's probably going to see this. All
He
right.
is, which I'm going to be talking to him too. So he'll have
Okay,
his, which
okay.
you'll see.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't expect it to go into the third round at all. Um, it'll probably finish in the first. If it don't finish in the first, I'll finish in the second. And a lot of
Submission
them
strikes.
depend on him. If it goes through submission, it'll be faster. I think my jujitsu's it's gotten like better still than before. It's pretty solid. But if it's through strikes, I know he's a tough guy. He takes a lot of damage. So I say when I fought tough guys before, and like I know what that's like. Sometimes people just got a chin, or they're just really good at hiding their face from you. That's how I broke my hand before on my friend's head. I fought John Mosley.
Hmm.
That was a fun fight. But yeah, like If it goes to strikes, I'm dangerous there too. So, but because he's tough, he might be able to weather it a little bit more. But if it goes to jiu-jitsu, like I'm pretty much probably just going to finish it pretty quickly.
I love it, man. All right, well, final thing, social media, sponsors, anything you want to get out there. I know you got Pain and Pride flying right behind you. You got Josh and everybody. So how can the fans keep up with you? Any shout outs? The floor is yours, brother.
Well, you can check me out on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, the Nappy Ninja. Shout out to CPMMA, shout out to Cyber Ninjas Global. It's a nonprofit that teaches STEAM education and tries to close the digital divide. Shout out to the District Pit. Shout out to C3 Inc. And shout out to, goodness, I got so many. Terraform My Yard, King's Fitness. Geez, I should have a list. Lackawanna Chiropractic, and I got a couple more. Yeah, so shout out to anybody who's been working out with me, helped me get ready for my fights. I spent a lot of time the past couple of years like training for fights that got canceled. That's one really kind of annoying thing. But yeah, it's only kind of made me a better fighter, consistent fighter. And so, I'm just happy to live the life that I'm living and searching for the stars.
I love it. All right, Piankhi, that'll do it for us, man. I look forward to the fight. I look forward to calling it. I look forward to announcing yet again another Piankhi, the Nappy Ninja Zimmerman fight, man. Thank you so much for joining me. Best of luck next week, and I'll see you then.
All right, I'll see you.
There he goes, Piankhi, the Nappy Ninja Zimmerman, taking on Elijah, the Buffalo Soldier Harris. It's going down in just a little bit less than a week, a few days away, July 17th at Fight World 18. You don't want to miss this matchup. This one has fireworks all over it. For Piankhi Zimmerman, I'm Adam Christ. Make sure you keep it locked to MyMMANews.com for all your fight news.